Today we are painting in acrylic. I have an acrylic board. This is a 6x6 square. You can paint with any canvas that you have that you might like. I have my brushes. I have a variety of brushes, nice background brush, little bristly here. It's good for the size that we're using. A square, a thin brush called a script liner, could be good for the grasses and the stems. And then a detailed round brush. You may also want to actually have a larger square as well. I'll edit the supplies if I decide to grab something extra so you'll know right ahead. So today, last week in watercolor, we painted this field of lavender, so I thought we'd try something similar in acrylic. Still going to do the yellow and pinkish sky, a little tree, and then a field with some lavender flowers in the very forefront. So I'll start with our background. Again, that yellowy pop of sun with some pink in the background. So I've already got my palette over here. I'm using primary colors. So of course that's red, yellow, and blue. And then I'll mix what I need. So I've got a little bit started here. I've got blue and red here for the purple later, a little red here so I can make some pink for the sky, plenty of yellow for some sky, plenty of white, of course, and some yellow and blue here. And then I've got off into the back, this side I've got some brown for the tree. So if we start with the sky, I've got my larger brush. I'm just going to do a top, some white and yellow with a bit of pink. So starting with some yellow and some white on my brush. Got a little bit of both and just in the center. I'll do a few swooshes, just grab a little more white. I'm gonna keep it the light yellow. Got some brush hairs already coming off. I have a paper towel. I always have a paper towel on hand so I can wipe my brush. So just a little brush of sunlight there. I'm going to wipe my brush, grab only the white to blend in around so it's a little bit lighter. And then I think I want to add in a dash of pink, and so I'm washing my brush so I can get truly just pink, because the yellow on my brush will make rather, if I dip into the red, it will make some orange, and I don't mind orange in my sky, but I don't want to do that to start off. So I'm washing my brush and grabbing the white and that red and just making a little bit of a super light pink, and then blend that in to here. And then wiping. The wiping just helps me control the paint, because I want everything to be nice and light. And then also, sometimes when I'm blending the two paints, I don't want more paint put on there. I want just to blend. I'm just looking for a really light sky. And the white really helps with that blending. Right now, my biggest problem is I've got a new brush. When you have new brushes, the hairs tend to fall off in the beginning, so I haven't used this brush very much, so the hairs are coming off. But it's no big deal. Once the paint dries, they roll off really nicely with acrylic, so. Just going in with a little bit of white. And I'll take that all the way down. We'll be painting over here with some trees, so I don't really have to go all the way to the bottom. You know, play around with that idea of a light touch versus a heavy touch and see what differences you get. I want a little more pink, so I'm going to take a little bit of pink down here in the bottom. It's almost like, you know, pink clouds, yellow clouds, right? There we go, a little more pink. Okay, really light. I like that. Take here, I want a really light limey green, so this one I made a lot of yellow in it. I just want bright, you know, bright happy colors right now. So I'm taking a little bit of yellow. Oh, look at that. I don't even know if that really is out there. Although I've got my window open, I kind of see some bright green grass out there. I'm gonna take a little bit of my white too and just swoosh that down on the bottom. I just really want to brighten up the yellow cloud look of that sun bright in there. So I'm grabbing a little, I've switched brushes to this smaller square. It's not my smallest square. You can use either one of your, these are softer brushes than the background one I just used. You just take a little, few swooshes of that sun brightness in there. I've got yellow and white on my brush. There's a little bit of yellow. Remember, we like the yellow because yellow is complementary to the purple. So when we get those purples in there for the lavender, it's gonna be nice. So here's a little of the white. Just layering it on top of what we already have. Almost like you're painting little yellow and white clouds. You can try a little tapping motion. Yeah. And then again, the light sweeping swoosh. I'm gonna wash my brush again, clean it really good. It's the clean brush that really helps with the blending afterwards. So that way I can kind of go over it with this clean brush. What do you think of a little pink we could add? We're just building up those layers. And I'm gonna just the tiniest bit of pink here, maybe up here. And I know that my yellow is starting to dry, but you know, pink and yellow do make orange. It's not gonna happen with me because I'm not using that much paint, so using a lot of white, so, but just know that if you did get your yellow and your pink together, you'd end up with more of an orangey color, which isn't bad. Oranges and sunsets, so that's pretty. That's okay. Just a couple, add some pink there. I want to add some white too. The white is really what makes the blending work. It's like that bridge between the yellow and the pink. I kind of like these short strokes. It's got like a Monet quality to it when you do it like that. Grab some yellow up here maybe. I'm gonna wipe clean. Again, clean brush is gonna be super helpful with the blending. So clean it, wipe it, go back in, you know, with your white and your pink. Okay, kind of like that. It definitely has a Monet feel to it. I'm gonna add some of this down at the bottom here. Okay, I think we are good there. Kind of got that glow Monet look. I like that. So I'm washing my brush now. Okay. Okay, I'm going to need dark green and light green. So I'm going back to here and adding a dash of blue so that I can make a darker green. This will be to help out with my tree that I'll be putting right here, a small tree. I'll just mix that blue in. I can always grab a little more yellow to make sure and get a darker green, because you want to have dark and light. It's hard to see things if it's only one value. Value is the lightness and darkness of a color. So when we have light and dark green, it makes it easier for us to see things and shows depth. So that's why we've got two different shades of green and then even a little white up here. So we have three different kinds of green really. on our brush, and we'll be doing our tree here. And if you remember, my inspiration from last week's watercolor, it's just a tree off into the distance here. I don't want it to be too big, so I'm just gonna do some little tree fluffies. You can see that right here. It'll just be some little taps there and there. I'll start with my medium color. So make sure my brush is clean, just so we start fresh. Go into my medium green and offer up right about here some little, you're just making a fluffy tree. Little taps here and there. And then at the bottom of the tree, I want it to be darker, so grab some of the dark maybe and tap into where I've already painted, but then also more at the bottom. Right there. And then leave some white behind, or some of the background color to come through. So that's good. I'm gonna wash my brush, clean it, grab some of that super light green and maybe even some yellow if you wanted to, like it was the sun hitting the leaves, and just you could tap a little bit here and there. Once it dries, we'll be able to add a little more of the sunlight and color. That's that. Wash it. And we'll go ahead and the brown that I spoke of, I'm gonna offer up a little bit on my tray here. And just a bit, just the tiniest bit on the tip of my brush. You're gonna hold it closer to a 90 degrees and just offer up a little tree trunk coming down here. It doesn't have to be, you know, a thin tree. Maybe a little tapered. Something coming, like some little roots coming into the ground here, coming out. Okay, and then I'll wash my brush. And I want to put a little bit of the dark green underneath the tree, just so it shows a little bit more of a shadow coming. And I want to take one of my other brushes, switch here and blend that. Just pull it down a little bit, just a little wiggle so that it just looks like the shadow. I'm gonna dip that in the water. Maybe into some of the regular green. Yeah, and just, there we go. And you can take that down any way you want it to go into your land. To kind of build up your grass look, you can pull different greens. Little taps. I'm using this flat here. Just a little tap here and there. Different color greens. Maybe when you get out away from the tree, more to right here, maybe you have more of a yellowy green, kind of like the sun hitting here. Grab a little white, pop a little white here. I like the bright, all of a sudden white and yellow is just a little sun. Why do I feel like when I'm painting I'm talking like Bob Ross? Just a happy little sun. Okay, so that's there. I think I want a little more darkness. Dark over here. Okay. Little of the regular green too. Just so, you know, if it was all one green, it just would be flat and boring. We wouldn't be able to see really what was going on. And again, these little short taps really have a nice Monet kind of feel to it, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm going to switch brushes. Go back to that larger one. And just bring out, you know, maybe pulling it. You can pull from all your different greens. Just tap it. You can get a little bit darker as you move forward. in space, things get a little darker. I'm just going over, so this brush is bristly, so it's nice to have a variety of, you know, different textures of brushes. And on my website, when you're looking at different classes, it may even be, when I post this class, there'll be an Amazon link to buy supplies, and I think that these brushes are one of the choices. I'm an Amazon affiliate, so you'll be able to like click it and buy what I'm using if you wanted. But, you know, whatever you have, you know, is going to be excellent as well, especially when you're learning, you know. If you have any questions, you can always email me or comment. All right, got a nice little, cute little pink landscape here. We're gonna finish up, add some more of that Bob Ross happy little flowers coming in. Let's dry. Okay, looking to get going on the lavender now. Okay, so washing my brush just so we can save our brushes, take care of them, not let them sit in the water. I'm grabbing my round here and I'm making purple. And just like everything else, you want to have light purples, dark purples, and white. So here's my blue and red make purple. So this is going to be gorgeous. Oh, look at that. Stir that up and then grab some of your white so you can make a little bit of a lighter version. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. And remember, you know, the more red you in it, you'll get a more red purple, more blue in it, you'll get a more blue purple. Make sense? So, okay, and I wanna clear that out, okay. And then, if you were in the ladybug class, I made grass, so we'll be doing some stems similar to that. Just have like a little field over here, some lavenders in there kind of thing. So we'll need a little bit more green, but you'll need the same thing just like we did before. Dark green, light green, medium green. So you want to prep those two. Just some purple on the tip of your favorite round brush and some little taps here. Think of like that cone, almost little shape, how it's a little bit fatter at the bottom. There. And then you might want to grab a little bit of white, tap it on your white purple, tap on a few lighter ones so it's different. Have lighter and dark ones because flowers are different colors, but then also if they're more in the sun, then it would be a lighter, maybe a lighter color. See there? Just little taps. And there's those 3 different purple ones, right? And you can just continue with that. This first layer, thinking bigger base, thinner top. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Tap, tap, tap. And you know, sometimes I'm tapping while it's still wet in there, and then sometimes I'm gonna let it totally dry, and then I would add a little bit of diversity in the purple. So it's just depending. Leave a little space, like I should be able to see some of the ground coming through the flowers there. Okay, and I'm gonna stop for this moment and do some stems, just so we can kind of like get a hold on where we're at. So I like a little bit of water when I'm doing a grassy structure, so I'm adding the tiniest bit of water so that things slide better. And then you can go up or you can go down with it. It just depends what you end up being more comfortable. We'll start with down. So from one of your bottoms, just take it straight down. And notice how I'm holding it 90 degrees. If you, 90 degrees, focusing on the tip of the paintbrush. If you are light to touch, barely touching the canvas, you'll get a thinner grass. If you push into it, you get fat grass. And I've done this before where very heavy push, fat, very thin, very barely touching, you get different thicknesses, okay? So, same thing. And like I said, and you can't see everything on the grass as the background, but that's fine because that's reality in that, you know, lights and darks are how we see things, so it's okay. Just do those stems. And for now, we're kind of like doing a stem for each one, but eventually it'll just be a mass of, and we won't have to worry whether that each one has a stem. And go ahead and try also going up with it. See which one you like better. And not every one has to have a stem, because, you know, it has to have a plant to match every single stem kind of thing. We're kind of just getting a feel for it. So, remember that ladybug one, we kind of went up, light touch. So as we go, we're here, but then as we lift up, we let go. So we're off the canvas, that'll help. So you can kind of get that, and then we're gonna go through, let's add some more. I did a whole bunch of grass, more grass than I have tops, right? Which is fine, because maybe not everyone has a top, but the human eye will attach whatever it deems necessary. So no, don't feel that need to do every single one. A little bit there. Yeah, we can do it different heights. Down low. Remember, you really got to have dark, light, all the different tones of purple, or we can't see. If you only did dark purple, it would just look like a bunch of dark blobs. They don't look like individual flowers if you don't. So, and then make them going, you know, left towards the right, straight up and down. That diversity in direction helps too. And maybe the ones in the top might be a little lighter, like more of the white in the paint, because the sun would be lightening it. You know, like I said, flowers are different colors, so you can still have dark ones. It's just the influence of the sun may be something nice to include. Grab a little white. I want some more light purple. A little water in there will help. And you can decide, you know, do you want how much, how many plants, how far over you want to go. You know, do you want to, what height do you want them to be? All right, I've got my lavender. I'm gonna add a little bit of a fun touch, a little splatter. This is optional. So just take one of your brushes. I'm going to use a small one because I want to control the amount of splatter. So I've got this little square, and you need a little bit, I'm doing a little bit of purple splatter, so just taking a dash of the purple, a little bit of water, I've got a little purple, a little powder, and you're going to take your thumb and flick it. Some people have trouble with their thumb flicking. It doesn't, their finger joint, it's not comfortable for them to do this. So you can also use another finger and flick it this way. And you may find better control that way too. You do want to avoid the sky. It's fun to have the little speckles down here, but I would not want it on the there. So I'm going to actually take a piece of paper and cover it there, and then just do the little splatters along the bottom. And again, the human eye just turns them into flowers. It's just a whimsical way to add to your painting. I'm gonna then get some of the lighter purple and do the same thing. I've got some light and some dark. You can do green too, you don't have to do purple. Purple, light purple. Add a little bit of white, lickle in there. Okay, there we go. So there's a little splat here and there. Now you need to wash your hands because you're even more covered with paint now. So I'm gonna grab one of my paper towels and just dry it off. Okay. There we go. A painting, happy little painting that makes me and Bob Ross proud. So just need to sign it down in the corner. You can take one of your smaller brushes. I like to do my initials. Also love to use thin Sharpies. Just write my DER down there if the paint's dry. You don't want to use, you have to wait for your paint to dry. You don't want to sign it, you'll ruin your pen. Otherwise, there's our little landscape lavender painting of the week. It's a pleasure to have you in the class, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.